What if one day, without warning, your body betrayed you? You're walking through town, then suddenly, your feet start to move. You're not dancing for fun, you're dancing because you can't stop. No music, no celebration, just a terrifying, invisible force. Your body twists and turns. Your legs are bleeding. You collapse from exhaustion, only to rise again. You laugh, you scream, you cry, but still, you dance. And then, you die. This actually happened. Hundreds of people, one city, one summer. And it could happen again. But before we go back 500 years to a true dancing epidemic, we need to start with something more recent. An event so bizarre, so unexplainable, that it defies logic. The year was 1962. The place, Tanzania. A farmer named Mbako was walking home after cutting grass in his fields. Suddenly, he heard a strange humming sound coming from a nearby hill. He looked around. Nothing. But the buzzing got louder, and then he started laughing. At first, a chuckle, then a burst, then full-blown, uncontrollable laughter. He laughed all through the day and all through the night. Doctors were called, priests were called, nothing worked. Weeks passed. He kept laughing. Then something stranger happened. 3 schoolgirls near the same hill started laughing in their classroom. Their classmates joined in, then the teachers. Soon, 14 schools were infected with laughter. No jokes, no comedy, just waves of unstoppable, contagious laughing. Parents beat their children to make it stop, but the laughter continued. More than 1,000 people were affected. The government shut down the schools, and still, they laughed. It lasted over 18 months. Then one day, it simply stopped. No cure, no explanation. Historians call it the Laughing Epidemic. But what if I told you this wasn't even the worst case of mass hysteria in history? What if I told you 500 years earlier, a town in France danced itself to death? Let's go back to where it all began. The year is 1518. The place, Strasbourg, France. It's a warm July morning. A woman named Frau Trofio walks out of her home, alone, barefoot, calm. She steps onto the cobbled street, and without a word, she begins to dance. There's no crowd, no music. She's not celebrating, but her arms begin to sway. Her feet shuffle. Her body twists and spins. People pass by. They watch. They whisper. Is she drunk? Is she possessed? Is this a joke? But as the day turns to night, she is still dancing. She doesn't stop to eat. She doesn't speak. She dances until her feet are raw and bleeding. She collapses. But then, a few hours later, she gets up and begins again. The next day, 2 more people start dancing in the street, then 5, then 20. Within a week, more than 100 people are dancing uncontrollably. They dance in pain. They cry as they spin. Some laugh hysterically. Others scream for help. But they can't stop. Local physicians are baffled. There's no sign of infection, no visible injury, no toxin. Their diagnosis? Too much hot blood. Yes, really. At the time, doctors believed an excess of blood could cause overheating of the brain and madness. Their solution? Let them dance more. Maybe they'd sweat it out. So the city built them a stage, hired musicians, and opened up the town square as a public dance zone. The result? Even more people joined. By the end of the month, the number of dancers had risen above 400. Many began collapsing from pure exhaustion. Others died from heart stroke or heart failure. Some were carried off, only to break free and return to the streets. The sound of screaming, feet slapping the stone, prayers shouted into the air. This wasn't a festival, it was a plague. And it didn't stop for 2 full months. But why? Why would hundreds of people dance themselves to death? Some believed it was a curse. Others blamed demons or possession. One theory suggested it was punishment from Saint Vitus, a saint said to curse sinners with uncontrollable dance. Still, others believed it was the devil himself, but nothing stopped it. If this story has you on edge, pause for a second, hit that subscribe button, and share this with someone who loves real history that feels like horror fiction. Now, let's explore the theories. Because even today, no one knows for certain what truly caused the dancing plague. So, what really caused it? Over 500 years later, scholars still debate what turned normal citizens into relentless dancers. Let's look at the most popular theories. Theory 1. Urgot poisoning. Some scientists blame ergot, a toxic mold that grows on damp rye. Urgot contains chemicals similar to LSD. It can cause hallucinations, seizures, and convulsions. Could people have eaten contaminated bread? Maybe. But if it were ergot, wouldn't the symptoms include vomiting, blindness, or spasms? Not synchronized dancing? And how would it affect hundreds, days apart for weeks? This theory doesn't fully dance. Theory 2. Spider panic. In Italy, people once believed that being bitten by a tarantula spider made you dance wildly to sweat out the venom. This is where the dance called tarantella comes from. Maybe the dancers in France heard similar rumors and responded subconsciously. Except, tarantula bites don't cause mass hallucination, and Strasbourg wasn't known for them. Theory 3. Mass psychogenic illness. The most accepted theory today? Mass psychogenic illness, or what we used to call mass hysteria. It's a psychological condition where groups of people develop physical symptoms for no physical reason. It spreads socially, like a virus, but of the mind. And it's not just medieval folklore. Modern cases still happening today. In 2001, a man was seen spraying something at a subway in Maryland, USA. People panicked, coughing, collapsing, some vomiting. 35 were rushed to hospitals. What was the substance? Window cleaner. The man was a janitor. There was no gas, no poison, only panic. Spreading mind to mind. Your mind is more powerful than you realize. The strangest detail: what happened to Trophia? After the dancing ended in Strasbourg, bodies were buried. The music stopped. The town moved on. But one thing never made sense. Frau Trophia, the woman who started it all, vanished. Her body was never found. She wasn't among the dead. She wasn't in the hospitals, and no one remembers seeing her leave. Some say she was possessed. Others say she triggered the event, then escaped. To this day, her fate is a mystery. The dancing plague of 1518 was not the first, and it may not be the last. Similar outbreaks were recorded in the 7th, 13th, and 14th centuries across Europe. People danced on bridges, in churches, in fields, often until they died. What causes it? We still don't know. But maybe it's not about disease. Maybe it's about desperation, a collective escape from fear, hunger, hopelessness, a kind of psychological pressure valve buried deep in the human brain. If this story unsettled you, just imagine how many other forgotten moments in history are still waiting to be unearthed. Hit subscribe. Leave a comment. What do you think really happened? And tell us, what mystery should we explore next? Because sometimes reality is darker than fiction, and not every plague ends with a cure.